different today. Hey everybody, I'm Steven Human. Welcome to Superhuman Customs, where we just customize action figures. Generally we do McFarlane action figures because they're very easy to turn into all kinds of stuff, to take apart that whole thing. But today we got, like I said, something a little bit different. So I went to a local toy event here recently, and a friend of mine, Cody Christensen, he gave me this figure. He's like, dude, I don't even know what it's from, but obviously it's meant to be customized. If you do it on your channel, then I will give it to you. So I said, you know what? I will do it on the channel. So here she is. Now he did some research while I was looking at other figures, and he found that she's a Stargate SG-1 figure. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn her into a Lady J from the G.I. Joes, because she's actually perfect to scale for the G.I. Joe figures, the 6-inch figures that I've got with like Duke and Scarlet. She's gonna be Lady J with the hat and everything. It's gonna be awesome. So let's get painting and turn her into a G.I. Joe. The thing about Lady J is that she's mainly green. Now this figure is already primed, so we're gonna start with a dark green, and then we'll lighten her up as we feel needed. Generally she's a light green, not much to her. So we'll add a few details here and there, like in the belt and stuff like that, make her just look more realistic than the original cartoon and character. But right now, it's all about coverage. We're just gonna get this green everywhere, going with a smaller paintbrush once we need to get the details. For right now, we just wanna get her covered in green. So I'm just going through with a thinner brush, getting some of these details. Now, if you look, you'll see that some of the paint is slightly blotchy. In the coloring, I haven't used this green very much, but it's come out where some were darker and some were lighter as it went on. And honestly, normally that would bug me, but on her, it doesn't, because she's military, right? And so having it be that it's got a little bit more of a camouflaged look naturally is kind of cool. So I'm into it. Now, Lady J doesn't generally have a vest or anything like this, but who cares? This is gonna look way cooler with her having this vest. And what I'm doing is I'm actually making it a lighter green so that it will stand out against the darker green of her suit. Now, obviously, we're gonna do a dry brush of some lighter green on top. And with this one, we'll do the opposite, where we'll go over with a darker. So they just have completely different tones, but I think it's gonna look really cool when they are together. Now that she's dry, I've got a little bit of the lighter green. I'm just gonna brush it on. Just a dry brush, just nice and light. Hit more of these edges and keep it moving around so that we can just give her a nice texture. And then we'll do the same thing here, but just with the darker green. I'm just gonna get very, very little on the brush and just hit these edges and see what we come away with. So I already made one mistake, and that is her hat is blue. So I was looking at pictures and I was like, oh wait, she has a blue hat, not a green hat. So I'm gonna fix that. Also here with the vest, she has like brown bandoliers that come here on some of the figures, and one that goes across the chest sometimes. So I think I'm gonna make this a little bit more of a canvas with a brown. So I'll repaint a little bit of that, but you know, it shouldn't be a big deal. Plus I think it'll add contrast, because right now they do look fairly similar, even though I used the lighter gray or the lighter green as a base. So I'm just gonna go through and do that and experiment, get her a little bit more accurate with the blue hat. All right, let's add some brown to this and see what we get. I'm not sure how it's gonna look, you know, but let's just try it. If we give it a nice brown dusting, then maybe it will, you know, change up the look a little bit. It's all part of the experimentation. Just figure it out. Now that we've got a light dark on there, let's go ahead and put a lighter brown over the top. I think it's gonna add some nice textures to the whole thing. We'll paint the zippers and then put a little detail on, but I think this will make it stand out against the rest of her. That's what we want. We just want contrast. Now what I'm going to do, I don't do a lot of flesh tone, but I'm going to start out with this lighter brown, and we're gonna lighten her up. Instead of going with just the flesh tone that I've got, let's do a base layer of this darker brown, or this lighter brown, and let's go through and add this, and then go with the flesh tone, and maybe we can get a better flesh tone after all of that. So that's what I'm going to do. Add this lighter color, or this lighter brown, and then we'll lighten it up with just some straight, peach flesh tone. Well, I've got the brown out to paint her belt. I'm also going to paint her hair, because it's just going to be a dark brown. I can add highlights later if I want, but for right now I'm just going to do the belt and her hair while I got the brown out, so that I don't waste any paint. While we're waiting for some of this to dry, I'm just going to hit like the boots and the shirt. Use some bone white on the shirt and just straight black on the shoes. Nothing too special. We can add details in a minute if we want, or just leave them this way. And we're still kind of waiting for things to dry, so I'm just going to hit a few of these details here, like on the belt and some of the buttons, so that we can get a little bit of color here, and on the zipper here, so that it's silver. You can do as much or as little of this as you want, obviously, but for me it adds life to the character, life to the figure. All right, here we go with the dry brush on the face. Let's see what we can get. Oh, a little bit too much. Let's move it around a little bit. Yeah, that's more than I thought. Now she's looking like a zombie. Oh well. Get the hands and get the neck. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. I'm just going to keep moving this around with what little I've got on here and see what I can do. But she is looking like a zombie, so well, we'll see what we get. Look at the hands while I'm here. Maybe they'll look better. All right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to take just some brown wash and my magnifying glass, and I'm going to see if I can get some of these details and maybe a little bit more of a realistic tone to her skin. Because right now it's just, maybe I should just go like this and wipe it all off. What do you guys think? Let's do that. Let's see what we can get by doing that. Yeah, looks a little bit better. Just experiment, man. Skin tone can be a difficult mistress. But let's just go over it and wipe. I think that's going to look better anyway. I'll keep playing around. All right, so she's a bit blotchy after doing that, but I'm going to take some flesh tone with a lot of water in it, and I'm just going to go over the top, the really thin coat, and I'm just going to move it all around. And hopefully that will solve some of the problem. Because it did put some nice shades under her eyes, but it just was, I don't know. It's like I'm going from too light to too dark. So hopefully this will help with this water. All right, well, her skin tone did not turn out too bad. So I'm pretty happy with it after those layers. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit more of the wash, I'm gonna put it under her eyes, but I cannot talk to you guys and do it at the same time. So I'm gonna do it off camera. Otherwise I'm gonna screw it up. So I'll show it to you in a second. All right, we're getting close now because we are doing the eyes. Now, how I've gotten used to doing the eyes now is with, is just with a toothpick, but even then, sometimes you get too much on. So I'm just going to toothpick the white into place and see where we're at. Got a little bit too much on the other eye, and I'll probably have to go around them a little bit with the flesh tone, but let's see if we can get
them completely filled, and then fill it in with some flesh tone. It looks weird now, but trust me, you can get it to where it looks the way it's supposed to. Now before we re-add a little bit of shade, because you can see where I fixed some things and it's a little bit too light, we're going to add the pupils right now. I was going to use green to get right in there, and again with a toothpick, this time with a fresher toothpick that has more of a thin tip. And I'm going to do that on both eyes. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Now, one trick about the eyes is that after you get the darks in there, go through with one little dot of white, and it will add life to the eyes. So always do that. Now, obviously I'm going to have to fix around the eyes and get it so that it looks a little bit more uniform. But that's a good way to make the eyes look like they have a little bit more light, like the light is hitting them. Makes them look a little more alive. Now, the last thing she really needs is eyebrows and eyelashes. So I'm just going to use a toothpick for both basically, and I'll put on the eyebrows, and then I will do the eyelashes the same way, but I need to hold her closer for that, and then I think she will be done. Not sure how well you can see, but I'm using the magnifying glass obviously, so I think she's turned out okay. Now, nothing I have has really been thin enough to get these eyelashes on, and so I'm using a little nail, and I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm going to experiment a little bit. The toothpick was too big, and this just isn't, I'm not able to get enough paint on. So I'm just going to have to play around with I might even use a needle. Maybe get something really, really thin to do these. I'll experiment with that now. Well, not bad. Not perfect. Not bad, especially at toy distance. She looks pretty good. And there we have Lady J. This was not something I ever expected to do. And the one time I bought one of those primed figures, I actually traded it because I didn't want to have to go through the hassle of painting every single thing. It just seemed too daunting. So this was a great opportunity. Cody Christensen, thank you so much for giving me this figure specifically to paint however I wanted and turning her into Lady J. This was really fun to make her just kind of a cooler version, and then to be able to work on the skin tone and the eyes. That was difficult, both of those things. Getting flesh tone right and getting the eyes right, and I think that she turned out pretty good. I mean, obviously with doing it with paintbrushes, it's not as perfect as what it would be with airbrush, but I like the paintbrushes, so I'm having fun with them. And for a first attempt at real good flesh tones and the eyes and getting the eyelashes with the needle and stuff worked out pretty great. Well, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave me some comments if you like what you saw, or if you have some tips, because I always learn from all of you and I appreciate it. I'm Stephen Human. Check out stephenhuman.com for all of my novels. I'm also on Audible, and Quimbleys.com for all of your board game needs, especially if you like Cthulhu Wars, Planet of the Apocalypse, Tooth Fairy, all that sort of stuff. I'll see you guys next week.